Hi everybody, it's Diana. I'm here with this week's Teach Me Tuesdays video, and I'm going to refresh my computer. I have to have the house one in. My work laptop is messing up, of course, right? Where I can't take it to the shop. So I just brought the house one in, and then of course it doesn't have all my files, so it's been fun emailing things to me from the other one that now I put in the house. Okay, I was messing around with, in my head, thinking of some different ways to do some watercoloring. And I love the new ornate stamp set, and ignore my messy block. But so it's this one here, and this is available to you now, so you can get the ornate thanks set and the ornate style. So that's where I got the flowers from. And then there's a couple dies. Now, some of the parts of the bundle are back ordered, so you can't get them. But the die that I'm using today, you can. So just keep that in mind. If you're wanting to do something with this right away, you're going to want to hurry and get that ordered so that your stuff doesn't get stuck in the back order way. Or if too many go in back order, sometimes Stampin' Up! Will turn the number off altogether. So just keep that in mind, because things are a little bit slower coming into the home office because of all the craziness that's going on. Okay, so what I was doing is I was trying to think of a different way to do, like, I love to sit in watercolor, but I thought I would want to do something that maybe was a little faster. So I was thinking, well, what if I color on the clear block and I missed it and I stamp it on my stamp, and just to see what will happen. But then I got thinking, well, if I do it on here, so this is how my brain works, not always good. If I do it on here, it would be backwards. So these are my little play pieces. So I don't know if this is how you stamp, but I always try different things, and then I make notes on them so that I can remember what worked and what didn't work. So I thought, well, what happens if I stamp the greeting, and then I laid my block on here. So some of you are probably going, you're ridiculous, but this is really how I figured it out. Okay, so if I put the block on here, and then what I was going to do is like, okay, well, I can't color in the place because then when you flip it over, it's backwards, right? So I thought, well, what happens if I just eyeball and do it opposite, right? And plus, watercoloring, it doesn't have to be perfect anyway. So anyway, so this was the first one that I did, or I did it on the block when I just eyeballed. I was going back and forth with my colors. And then I didn't like it at all, but hey, I'm learning. And then I tried it with, where's my other one? So then I tried it. So this was on Whisper White Thick, was this paper. And then I thought, well, I'm going to try it on watercolor paper because it will take the water a little bit differently than the other paper. So this wasn't too bad. I mean, it's too dark, but at least it was like, okay, it was kind of giving me the idea that was okay. And I stamped it with the stays on the watercolor paper. And then I thought, well, what if I stamp on a window sheet? Because I still kind of wanted to use the block. I don't know why, but in my mind, I just wanted to use the block because it was nice and flat or whatever. So I thought, well, if I stamp on the window sheet and then I lay the block over it, you know, I could do that and it would work. But I didn't care for that either. And I want to say that this one I just showed you, I want to say that this one was the one I did that technique with. So then I just was like, okay, I'm not using the clear block. So then I was just end up coloring right directly on the window sheet. So I made myself a little note because it is the reverse. because this is the side that got stamped on, because this is the way that the stamp is. Get my stamp here. So see, this is how it's stamped. But you want to do it on the reverse. So that's why I wrote color side, just because it's easy to do it the other way, just because you're looking at the stamp. So what I did was I just took the markers. Now I had one of my friends ask me the other day, she said, do you use the regular Stampin' Right markers? And to be honest, with the Stampin' Blends, I hardly ever use my Stampin' Right markers anymore. So then that gave me another reason to pull them out, so I would try, you know, to do this. So I'm just calling it like faux watercoloring with the window sheet is what, and there could be a real name for all I know. Okay, so then all I did was I just started taking my markers and I played with different colors. So these are some of the colors I played with. So this was stamped with Memento, and it did smear a little bit when I gave it a good spritz. This was with the window sheet, so it's starting to look like a little better as I go. This is the one that I really liked how this one turned out, and you can tell I really fell in love with that blue because I did that blue in the center of all of them. And then you're just going to cut it out. But what I did was, so I'm going to take the marker and I'm coloring right on the window sheet. So this is, what is this one? This is the Shaded Spruce, and I'm just putting some color in the center of the leaves, because then I'm going to go back with the Old Olive. So I want to put a little on the leaves. So this was definitely easier than the block. I just didn't know if the window sheet would be too floppy, and it really wasn't. And then this is Old Olive, I do believe. Yes, Old Olive. So these two colors are kind of getting mixed up a little bit on the marker. So what you would want to do is, after you get done coloring, because it's staying wet on the window sheet, it's not drying. Oops, I forgot that leaf. Go back, put a little bit on this leaf. So it's not drying on the window sheet, but that's why you want to stamp it with the stays on, because then it will. So see how this might have a little bit of the dark. So I'm just going to come over and I'll just clean my marker onto the scrap paper, just so that it doesn't have any of that dark. And then I'm just going to start adding some of my other colors. So this is the Highland Heather. And it's really, really a fast way to watercolor. I mean, just in whatever colors you use makes it look different, because that's what I found when I was using certain colors. And that's why I ended up going with these ones at the end, because they were just the ones that I liked the better. And then when you mist the window sheet, and you're just going to use the little mist bottle with water in it, when you mist the window sheet, what it does is it moistens up that ink, and it will spread around a little bit, so you don't have to be too worried about your edges and things like that, because it is going to bleed out depending on how much water you put on it. Do my little circles, and then my favorite, and it's a pretty dark blue, like it's not one I would grab normally and coloring with the marker direct, but this works good with this technique. Okay, so let me get these out of the way. So now I have the little misting bottles that we have, and this has water in it, so I have it marked H2O. And then I'm going to take my window sheet and I'm going to go off to the side so I don't get water all over the place here. And I'm going to grab my piece of paper. So I've already stamped my, but let me show you. I'm going to do it on the watercolor paper, just so you can see the difference. Now I kind of got a little messy right there, but I just want to show you the difference. All right, so now I'm going to take my window sheet off to the side, and I'm going to give it a spray with the doohickey, the little spray thing. So now it's all nice and wet. See that? So then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put it onto here and just give it a second so it kind of soaks in to the paper a little bit because it's still wet. And this is usually when you go, oh, I should have sprayed a little bit more onto the top or whatever. So I just want you to see the difference between the watercolor paper. Okay, so let me peel that off. And then what I usually do is I usually flip it over and then I just kind of go like this. And that gets any extra water off of it so it doesn't get too muddy. So see, that looks pretty cool, right? And I love the Highland Heather look on there. So that is on the watercolor paper. All right, so I'm gonna go quick. I'm gonna wipe this off. I'm gonna wipe it off, and I'm just using a paper towel. Now, when I'm done with this, technique, what I'll do is I will just put this with the stamp set. So I always have this ready to go. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same coloring and see how fast it was. It was super, super fast. And I'm just using the same colors so that it's not like it looks different because I used a different color. You know how sometimes they'll show somebody with the certain outfit on and they'll go, oh, this looks better with this whatever, and you realize, well, that's not even the same person. So no wonder. So I'm using identical colors. The only thing that I'm going to do differently is I am going to, after I spritz it, I'm going to, let me squish down here a little bit. I'm going to do it on the shimmery paper, just so that you can see like how it reacts a little different to the shimmery paper. When I did it with the Whisper White Thick, it just like sucked that color. Like it didn't move around too much. I mean, so that was what was cool about the watercolor paper, because it just reacts differently with the water. And the shimmery paper is fun because it's one that I use all the time for watercoloring because it lets you play with colors a little better. So, all right, put my blue, and it just looks like a scribbly mess right now. But what's neat is anybody can do it, really. Like, you could have, I mean, the kids would have fun doing this. I think the whole thing, the scribbling, the misting, you would probably want to just make sure that you stamped the stays on thing, because it does add a little bit of lovely lipstick. So there's a couple reds in there because I forgot that I did do that was lovely lipstick before. Because when you stamp the image onto the window sheet, it can shift a little bit because it's a little slick. So you probably want to do that ahead of time. Okay, so now I'm going to go over and mist it. So hopefully I misted that pretty good. I'm going to give the little blue guy in the center another little mist. I probably got it in the wrong spot. All right, so now this is the shimmery. So you'll be able to see how different it is on the shimmery paper. And then the same kind of thing. I just kind of let it sit a little bit so that, and if you look, it's kind of hard to see, but if you look, you can see the window sheet comes away from the paper. So you can kind of see it releasing itself from the paper, you know, as the water is soaking in. It might be hard to see, but when you do it at home, you can see that it's doing that. I think I should have misted it a little bit more there, but it's all different. All right, now pull it away, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Flip it over. So see, I didn't miss that. Remember I said I was gonna go back and mist him again, and I didn't. I missed it over here, which still looks okay. It reminds me of, what was that? Dumb and Dumber TV show, where the guy kept misting the other people's faces. But I'm gonna see what I can do here. Watch. This is live, people. I'm gonna add a little bit more to this flower here, because it doesn't have a whole lot of color. And then this little red guy here, and I'm going to mist it again, because it's just paper. All right, so then I'm going to come back and we'll see what happens. All right, back on there. I might have made it worse. We'll see, because I'm not lined up. Pull it away. Ooh, that added some more water to it. All right, and then I go like this. And then what I did do was, I have a fan on my desk. Pleasures of hot flashes as I get older. So I want it to be good and dry. So after it's all the way dry, let me dry this off so I don't get it all over the place. So then this will go right in the stamp set for another time. All right, let this dry really, really good. And let me show you what I did with the finished card so I can stop boring you today. So this is what I did. So this was the shimmery, but what I did was I cut it out. So see how they all look different. So this is shimmery, watercolor paper. And what I might even do is, where's my mister? So see this? I'm gonna give it a mist, see what happens. Can't hurt it. You cannot hurt it. So I might do the same thing where I did with that one. Add a little bit more up here to get a little bit more green, because you can't really hurt it. But anyways, back to the card. So this is what I did. So I just, after all the way dried, I cut it out, and then I used the dies that come with the Ornate, and that is the Ornate Layers dies. So you can get these as of today, like right now, these are on back order. And then I also used the rectangle stitched, because that goes inside and it went here really, really well with it. And then I also used the embossing folder that goes with that, and that is Ornate Floral 3D. And what I've done is anything that is a new 3D needs to use the purple. There's a new purple plate to run it through the Big Shot or your embossing folder or your embossing machine. So what I've done is anything that is new that needs this plate, I have put a purple circle on it, and then I know to remember, because the older ones, you don't use that. So that's what that purple dot is on there about. And then, and it turned out pretty cute. And I do mist the paper before I put it through the embossing folder with a little bit of alcohol, and it just helps moisten the paper and it goes through a little better. So that's basically really, really fun. And they all, like I said, they all look totally different depending on your paper, depending on how much water you use, depending on, you know, your marker colors. So anyways, that was me. That was a quick Teach Me Tuesdays video. I hope that you'll give it a try and let me know what you think. And I will see you later. Have a good week. Bye.